Our favorite stretch is a finishing touch on the ATG split squat, which makes your hip flexors stronger through a stretch position. Your hip flexors are a series of muscles that go from your lower spine all the way down to your thigh. And the couch stretch is quite advantageous to get down to those lower parts while still allowing a stretch of the upper. So one of the 20 ATG standards is an ATG split squat on flat ground without the back knee touching the floor, with the posture up, the hamstrings covering the calves, and your heel can lift to whatever degree is comfortable for you. And another of them is shin flush, glute contracted ability to touch the shoulders to the wall.
But the unfortunate thing is the person that needs the couch stretch the most has the hardest time getting into position. For example, my own mom would never try to get into a couch stretch using a traditional exercise mat. So we actually copied our kids' super thick 6-inch play mats to make it very comfortable for you.
And you may find more uses for it. For example, I use my KneeMat as my home Nordic bench. I'm a huge fan of actual Nordic benches, but it's pretty cool. If you have a rack, you can load your weight on the other side. $10 squat pad, knee mat, and you got super comfortable Nordics. Helicopter. Now, it took me over 2 years to achieve that. And to this day, I think that just resisting the weight down is the most important part, because that ability to resist your knee being pried apart helps protect knee ligaments, things that help hold your knee together. Then long term, our measurable standard is what we call the Marty St. Louis. His hands are behind his back. His glutes contract first. This brings the abs off the bench. Otherwise, you might not fully be lifting your weight. And to this day, I'm still chasing the perfect Marty rep. I think he's a great example because he went from undrafted to Stanley Cup champion, MVP, and to this day, he still holds the record for being the oldest player in NHL history to lead the league in scoring at 37 years old. And his trainer said that he was the best at the Nordic out of over 20 pro hockey players that he trained. So this video represents the purpose of the standards program. I was terrible at Nordics, terrible at couch stretch, terrible at ATG split squats. I was told to give up my sport, hooked on painkillers, icing my knees 4 times a day. And maybe I still would be if I didn't have long-term measurable routes. So don't worry about where you are today. I firmly believe you could turn a lot of weak links into strengths. On average, I see it takes about 2 years. There's no long-term contract, no data held back. You could dive in, learn all 20 standards, and use me for whatever you need. But I do think it's an investment everyone should do at least once in their life, because if you make these changes, you then have to spend less time warming up, money on supplements, treatments, not to mention how many people have gotten off painkillers. An example this morning was a guy who now can go to the zoo with his daughter on his shoulders and not wear knee braces, which he had to do before ATG. So everyone's different. Alyssa joined me today on these, and she just worked some eccentrics. She just fought down, pushed back up. That alone, done over time, I think is so worth it. So I hope this video and this understanding help you find out closer to what your actual potential could be.